right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is Rick Murphy with AllNet. I'd like to introduce Paul Malmquist with eero. We're going to go over some of the new things that eero is doing today. So without any further ado, here's Paul Malmquist from eero.
Thanks a lot, and thank you for everyone again. I know that thank yous go around quite a bit on these things, but definitely thanks for taking the time out of your day today. As eero is concerned, we are extremely excited about 2018. We've got a lot of new services, or one new service that just launched, a product that launched at the end of the year. If you haven't seen it, came out at the end of November. So we're going to talk about those things today more than anything else, because I think that eero now has a value proposition that meets everything else in the marketplace as far as installations and services are concerned. So with that, let's just get into this and get moving through what we're going to be going through. PoE plus adapter and mount. I got to tell you, there's a lot of folks out in the marketplace. I've been out on the road for several weeks already this year, working with different distributors and dealers across the U.S. And I've seen the reaction from dealers in the marketplace on the PoE plus adapter and mount. And it is actually a great product. The dealers that are using it are loving it. We have pretty good uptake. It gives us some unique opportunities as well. And then we just announced remote network management, and that was the impetus of this particular call and training opportunity. Remote network management was announced at CEDIA. Both of these products actually were announced at CEDIA, but it just launched at the end of January, and it's already started to change the way we actually look at eero installations in the custom install channel. And the dealer base that has already started using it loves it. We've already started receiving a heck of a lot of suggestions on improvements on the product, and it's very similar to eero. It will continue to get better. And then I always go through eero Pro in these things, because there are dealers out there that are not aware of what it takes. If you're a new dealer to eero or you haven't seen the product yet, that's great. Setup and app features, we can roll through those if you would like, if we have time at the end of this, but I want to spend most of the time today talking about different ways that we can improve the overall installation opportunity for you. Our mission is very simple, to keep everybody abreast of where we're going and what we do. We want to make that connected home come to life. We want to be more than a connectivity platform, and we want to be the central nervous system. So when you think about those particular things, there's a lot to be said about that, because the customers' homes are broken without you as a dealer. As a professional out there, making sure that every system actually works right, and every system has the opportunity to have great connectivity across all of, in any configuration, and give us the speeds and the things that our customers are actually looking for. When you consider networking 5 years ago, it was part of what we did every day as professionals, but it wasn't the forefront of what we do. So I think that networking over the past, especially the past couple of years, as we've seen things like Netflix come into our lives. Just a quick stat on that, over 70% of every telephone call going into a cable operator today is about, I can't receive Netflix in my bedroom, or I can't stream to my bedroom, I have bad Wi-Fi. So we solve a lot of problems, not only for your end user, but also actually for the cable companies, if you think about it that way. Integration over the past several years has gotten a lot better, and we're seeing better and better integration across multiple platforms today. You know, if we look at what we've seen from Amazon with Alexa, or Google Home, or now Apple with their particular device coming to the marketplace, and the voice control, and the way that people are starting to integrate those things into additional platforms, whether it's control, lighting, whatever we can dream of, voice is becoming a very needed thing, and that all relies on one thing and one thing only, and that's great Wi-Fi delivered around the home. So those things are becoming more and more prevalent in our lives. Mobility has been a big driver for us as well, as we've seen our mobile phones turn into mini computers basically, and the tablet that has invaded our home as well. Being able to stream from one floor to the next or one room to the next without losing connectivity, without hitting multiple access points, with good handoff between those those access points are what we strive for every single day. So bringing those devices to life and making sure that they are smart and not dumb definitely is within our grasp. And consumers want something that's very unique. I just saw a post on Twitter this morning of a customer that was installed, and he gave it basically thumbs up, which was, we see those posts quite often. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll see that customers rave about our particular product. But where they really want to go is using multiple devices. And we know that, you know that. They want to be able to stream. They want to be able to turn their lights on and off. Their sprinkler system stays connected. Their garage door, their doorbell, their outdoor security cameras, whatever we're running on a Wi-Fi solution or connectivity, we need to make sure that that's good up and running. They also want a very simple interface. And if you've used our interface before, you know that it's super simple and easy to set up. But then also from your perspective, where we do run into issues, and or if the customer were to have issues when you're not available, they want great customer service, and we pride ourselves on customer service. I'll spend just a second on that, because there are some unique statistics. We don't, the one thing our customer service team does not do, we're not incented on the number of calls that they actually take. Their goal is to have a customer on and off of the phone in a single call resolution, and that goes for our dealer base as well. There are some times where we have to have multiple calls, and we understand that because those installations are very complex, and making sure that everything's set up right. And then the biggest and one of the most important things to us in today's marketplace is security, and that's security not just on a device, but it's network security. Average hacker can get into a camera and or baby monitor or something of that nature within 10 minutes. So ensuring that our networks are secure is a big quest for us, and we do that in multiple ways. The first is IPA2 out of the box, and if you didn't know this, when that particular breach was announced, eero was able to develop a patch, have that patch tested, completed, and out the door in every one of the networks that either you have installed across the United States or that have been installed by the DIY type installation. Every one of those networks actually around the country, around the world, we're in 139 countries. Customers have actually taken our product home to other countries, but every network was updated within 1 week. That's a powerful statement for you as a dealer and why you should sell eero. There are other companies out there, without calling names, but there are a lot of companies out there that haven't even acknowledged, nor have they developed a patch for it. So those networks are still vulnerable to that particular attack or that threat. So eero always, we push out 26 updates a year. Every 2 weeks, we're updating both our security and our firmware inside our product, and the software remains rock solid. So security is a big drive for us. And where we start with our product is ensuring that what you're offering is definitely secure, as I went through just a second ago. Super simple setup. And this is where I really hear back from a lot of dealers when I'm out visiting with you, both in your location or at a distributor or at AllNet, as an example, is that most of the dealers tell us that they can do, if they're just running a wireless system without any wires, most dealers can tell us that it's about 15 minutes to get a network up and running in place throughout the house. Now, if we're going and drilling down into the full application of whether or not we're setting up a guest access or we're setting up profiles for a consumer and doing those things, may take a little bit more time if you're at static IP addresses and those type of things. Of course, those are unique and will take a little bit more time. And then reliability is a key factor for us. It's I have a lot of dealers that I work with that have been installing eero for almost 2 years now, and every one of them would come back to me and say that they can set it and forget it, to use a term from Vince, our favorite rotisserie chicken guy. Anyway, set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it. Our product actually goes through a 6-hour bake at full tilt before it even makes it to the box. So reliable is definitely there. And then working in any home, which is where we really start to shine, because only eero provides a solution in any home, any combination, in any number. And that bottom line is so near and dear to us. You'll never have to say no to a customer need again. And what that means is that when you consider the network at the bottom and us always having a solution for the consumer's home, this particular network that we're calling out, there are 19 eeros involved in that particular installation with 494 connected devices. Now, I haven't updated that slide yet this year, because there is one that cropped up on us in the past couple of weeks, and actually is 29 eero nodes on the network and over 675 devices connected to it. So that's a pretty robust network, and it's a sizable network and installation. But the thing about it is, as a solution, we can go both wired and or wireless. And that's important to us, because as professionals on a retro, you may be in a home that is a dated home, if you will, and there's a wall that you can't get that cable through, or there's some block that always, and it happens to every one of us. But the thing about it is that you can always use eero, and I always recommend eero as the main product and for the flexibility for any installation. Beacon does a great job, but remember this, eero on the other side of that wall, even while we're connected wirelessly, we can still hardwire off of that. So we can create a solution, we can design it, you come up with it, we can meet the needs of any solution that you need. So remember that that eero is always designable and configurable to whatever the needs may be. In any scale, only with true mesh. As you know, eero is tri-band, 2.4, 5.2, and 5.8. And then Beacon is, while it's dual band, it does run on 5.2 and 2.4. The beautiful thing about Beacon, as I mentioned just a second ago, is it can solve a lot of issues for us. It can be placed without any wires at the front entryway, maybe. It can be placed in a long hallway to ensure that we have great coverage across a home. It can be placed in a garage, similar to where mine is. I have a Beacon in the garage, and it supports my 2.4 devices that are connected out there with my outdoor lighting. There is a sprinkler system that's connected. Thank goodness I got that. I love it. And then some outdoor cameras that are on that end of the home. So they're all connected 2.4. I can see that on my application, and I know that they always have great connectivity, and it's off and running. And that's the way those things actually are connected. So any configuration is, again, a great thing for us, both wired and wireless. But the beautiful thing about eero is, if you don't know, every one of our products is a router. That's first and foremost. Because we route and reroute traffic dynamically on the fly, because we're the only company that actually operates from the cloud. Every node on a network pings the cloud every 5 seconds. We receive over 1 billion heartbeats or pings every single day. And that in itself is a feat that is great for us, because there's a couple of things that happen. If you had a lot of network traffic on your system or your client system, we can route and reroute traffic dynamically on the fly, because each one of those nodes pings the cloud and makes an adjustment. Handoffs, everything. It doesn't matter. So it's a great opportunity for the customer. There's a couple of things that happen with that as well. We stay fresh. We update every 2 weeks at a minimum, or 26 updates a year. We give you the opportunity to create a system and design a system that's unique to every single home, and we also improve our product. Again, we can add and subtract as many as we need, and depending on the consumer's need for that particular installation. If you haven't seen POE yet, POE Plus by eero is a great product. It's really sleek. It follows our design on the product itself, in making sure that we're both mounted. We can be both mounted on the ceiling and/or wall, and it creates that custom look. When you think about it, your customers don't want to see a wire. Unfortunately, in my home, I see a lot of wires because I'm not the professional that you guys are, and I'm not very good at sheetrock repairs, so that's why I don't pull a lot of wires in my house. I need to hire one of you guys to actually come and fix my house. But with that said, think about eero in a new way. Now you can install an access point for a consumer, starting somewhere in the $350 to $400 range, and that's an access point that can't be beat with the capabilities that we actually provide the end user. It's a great look. It's easy to install. Saves you time and money. You'll always add a switch or an injector to those things, and remember that it is POE Plus. I don't think that there's a day that goes by that I don't get a call from a dealer, or the customer service center doesn't get a call from a dealer that has an amber light. That amber light is an indicator that you don't have the correct wattage on that line, and tells you that you need to have a different switch or injector involved in that particular installation. But you can see here our specs. Remember, and I've had to remind a lot of dealers of the max run on, without boosting, the max run on Ethernet at 328 feet. I've had a couple of installs where the dealer claimed it was our problem, and you dig into it and you find out that the guy was trying to run 500 feet from one house to the pool house, and guess what? He didn't have any signal. So just remember those things. Physics are at play with us on that. It does require that certified POE injector or switch. It only works with second generation product, and it can go into any single gang, round, rectangular, octagonal, dual. It doesn't matter. So when we were designing this thing, as you can see, we did quite a bit of testing on this product to make sure that it would fit every type configuration that you guys have or you run into out in the marketplace. So it made a lot easier for everybody on the end. You notice that there's two wires that come out. One is the power supply, and one would be the communications or data line. And those particular lines, behind that is a box that allows us to, there's 3 patents behind that. There's a little adapter box where your Ethernet cable would plug into, and that little adapter box has a couple patents pending on it. It allows us to ensure that you have the proper performance, whether mounted horizontally or vertically. eero is originally designed to be basically waist high on a tabletop. If you mount it on a wall, you don't have exactly the same performance that you normally would. But our engineering team was able to design it in a way that was, number one, easy to install, as you can see. eero just pops into it, feet are there, a little space for some heat to dissipate a little bit more heat. Set screw goes in, ensuring that it doesn't fall off the wall and or ceiling. And that's it. The product is actually installed. And you can see here, I know the white on white or the gray on white isn't the best visual. I've asked our marketing team actually give me some crown molding on that shot and paint the wall a different color, but we'll get there. Anyway, when you think about that, that's a pretty clean installation for anybody. And it gives us great performance. It gives us the ability to do things different than we weren't normally able to do with eero. So just remember that we do have that out and available. It is available through AllNet, and there are some unique opportunities. We've seen I think one of AllNet's dealers was able to secure a bid for 200 new homes. The unique thing about eero now is that if you haven't approached a home builder or a small home builder in your marketplace, by all means, please do so. And the reason is now that eero can be mounted, it can qualify for financing. It can be rolled into the package because it's a fixture of the home, similar to an alarm system or anything else that's installed, physically installed in the home. And it solves the solution pretty quick, pretty easy. And we're seeing quite a few home builders take advantage of it. So that's a great market for us. And we think that it'll continue to grow. Remember, setting up a system is super simple with us. You're out of the modem into eero. Eero does act as the gateway or router, and then it can be hardwired into a switch, and then of course hardwired further on. The bottom example, I always go through these slides to make sure everybody's aware, especially if you're new to eero product, is that the switch does not have any internet connectivity, so that would be a wrong installation. As we continue to go down or get into more and more complex solutions, you can see that we're going out of the modem into eero, into a switch and then another switch. Well, that's a great installation, easy enough to do. In the bottom half of that slide, what you'll notice is that there's what's called a switch loop that's created. The television was both connected to the switch and or eero. You could remove either of those and be fine. Again, eero could be wireless on the other side, with the bottom eero there being hardwired and the top eero being wireless. You could still hardwire into that television or even connect to it wirelessly. So eero gives us a great solution opportunity in that room where you can't get to it. A little bit more complex solution where we're going into bridge mode. And yes, we are a great product. We still create exceptional Wi-Fi capabilities and mesh network in bridge mode, where you're using the provider's router or your choice of router going into a home. We like to see ourselves in the first position because we do have the capability of running at full tilt speeds. We have multiple dealers across the United States reporting 750 and higher down and 500 plus up in a lot of different situations, and that's wireless and or wired. So we're more than capable of handling the speeds if you didn't think we were capable of, or if you didn't know that we were a router to begin with. So bridge mode, the other thing that I'll call out to bridge mode is that you do lose some advanced functionality when we do go into bridge mode. You would lose profiles, you would lose advanced settings and the like. So those advanced settings are lost when we do go to bridge mode, but we still give a great solution, and we see that being installed that way constantly by dealers who want to use a different brand of router rather than eero. So remember, we can go in either way, but also remember that you're going to lose some advanced functionality. Now, let's our newest expansion to the professional side of things. We made an investment in the back half of last year into not only did we introduce new product in second generation, but we also invested into the Pro Channel because we believe in the Pro Channel. Our CEO believes in the Pro Channel, and he's one of the biggest cheerleaders that we actually have for our industry, if you will. And that's actually one of the reasons I came to work for him. When he expressed himself as being a pro advocate and the fact that he had programmed Crestron systems at the age of 15 and was very intrigued by the professional channel, that's a selling point for me because we know that we have his support. And investing in tools like this for you guys is another way that we show our support for the Pro Channel every single day. We can create more value with the remote network management system in 2018. Now, the thing about that is that it's sellable. It's free to you. So when you think about that, if you have a system that you're installing and just say you're charging $1,000, Now you can charge $1,200 and have an annual service contract that's going to renew either every year, or you could do multiple years for even more money, or you could even do it with a month-to-month if you have the system's capability of charging month-to-month for a service contract. Free to you is a great thing because that's 100% margin. It doesn't cost you anything. Add it to it. Charge more for it. Improve your margin on eero installations by utilizing remote network management. So remember that it is sellable. We're not setting a price for you. I've heard dealers since the end of January tell me anywhere from $99 to $750 on annual contracts, and $10 a month, $9.99 a month, as much as $29.99 a month on remote network management. It's, again, a sellable feature for you. And we can do things like full dashboard view, network reboot, WAN speed test, IP reservation, port setup, edit, and delete, port forwarding, setup, edit, and delete. Those are things that are just out of the box with us. Just like eero, as I said earlier, remote network management will get better over time. There are a lot of features that dealers have already come back to us with inside the first couple of weeks, and we'll continue to build off of those ideas and suggestions. There's a lot more that will come out on remote network management over the course of the year. Just to give you an idea, I know this is a little bit of an eye chart, but you can see this would be somebody's networks that they've set up by utilizing eero. And what happens here is you can see that there are 3 offline and the rest of the networks that are there. So this is your dashboard view of all of your networks. You can go into the network details of those 3 that were offline. As an example, we can see who the ISP is. We can see if it's actually on or off. So if the customer is calling saying my network's down, well, you need to call the cable provider. And you can see who created it. Then you can get into all of the other topology of that particular network, even down to the nodes that are on the network, what their serial numbers are, what their MAC addresses are, and what they actually are and how they're connected. In this particular example, we can see that the living room, or the first one on the left-hand side of the bottom, is connected via hardwire. So it's plugged up into our modem. We know that. The second particular node on this network, all 3 of the remaining nodes are actually beacons. And we can see that by the icon and how they're connected. Of course, beacon does not connect via Cat6 or Cat5. It's only a wireless product. But the bedroom one is offline. Probably chances are maybe the maid unplugged it and plugged the vacuum in and didn't remember to plug it back up. So we can ask the customer really easy, just go plug it back up, we'll be fine. No truck roll. Guess what? No truck roll improves your profitability every single time that happens. And keeps you profitable on every single eero installation by utilizing this tool. Then you can also, just drilling down from there as well, you can see the connected devices on each one of those networks. So you can see what their MAC address is. If you had done some assigning on your MAC address or IP addresses, either one, you can see which ones those are and make sure that they're all still good. And you can see what devices were recently connected to that network. Of course, laptops, telephones, tablets, and other devices come and go. So you actually have somewhat of a history of what's going on in that consumer's home as well, and help them better manage their network from a remote location. And if you needed to, you could actually reboot the network. So again, you can do quite a bit with it. It's a unique offering that gives you some good control over it, and that's a sellable feature. How to get started? There's a lot on this one. If you're a new dealer, the first thing that you need to do is go to pro.eero.com and register. Once you become authorized, download the application, eero application, and make sure that you use your same email address and mobile telephone number, and the Pro Transfer feature will show up on your application. So then you're going to go through that particular process, and you're going to go to your accounts. You're going to verify your email address, again, using the same one that you used to log into pro.eero.com. And now you're an existing dealer, so you can go to dashboard.eero.com and follow the instructions. The thing about that is that you have to remember, you have to transfer ownership of the network to the end user. There's a lot that needs to be said around that, because now the end user, when you're doing your training, after you've installed a great system for somebody in their home, both in home theater as well as automation and other things, and you're walking them through how to use their system, how to use everything that's there. eero should be part of that, because we can do things like guest access. I use guest access a lot in my home. When people come to my home, I give them guest access, but I also use them in different ways. Timeouts, or I can use them in so that my mother-in-law shows up on Thursday, she leaves on Sunday. She gets a text from me on Thursday that says, this is your guest access for Wi-Fi. She can use that on all of her devices. She's going to leave at Sunday at noon. I turn off, her internet turns off, connectivity turns off. That way, she's not utilizing my network. She's not in my network. No chance of being hacked, no chance of anything else, keeping that network on her phone for longer periods of time. So I use it as a safety precaution. But then I have some guests that are more frequent, and they always have access. As soon as they come into signal range of my home, they're able to connect to my network because they're frequent visitors. And that's a great option for them. They're just not timed out. But then also with profiles, when you think about profiles as far as customers and their use, profiles are great. It's not only as device and or consumer profiles. So you can set up kids for timeout. As the kids get older, mom and dad need to be able to adjust that. They can adjust that on their own without them calling you. So, you can turn off the internet at 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. They have to do their homework. They have to have dinner with you. Then the internet turns back on. They get older, maybe the internet is only down for an hour, or it's extended through the evening hours from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock that they have access. So just remember that those profiles and device profiles are there for the end user benefit, and it gives the consumer the ability to do things within their network by you transferring it over to help them have a better experience with Wi-Fi. So again, with remote network management, you have continued monetization. It will get better over time. It does give you that opportunity to reduce truck rolls. It gives us that single place to manage the networks. I mean, when we think about it, there are some dealers out there that I'm aware of that have 15 or 16 different technicians that have all done eero installations. Now that you can transfer those networks over to the remote management tool, they're no longer on Bill's phone or Randy's phone or John's phone or whoever. They're all in a central place, which is a great tool. It's a great way to be able to manage networks. Again, moving those things into that position, and then we do feel that the tool provides you and your customer the best of both worlds. When you think about that, again, it's that experience that they can have, similar to a whole home music system. When you guys install that whole home music system, you have to make sure that there's an application that's downloaded to their phone, their tablet, their laptop, whatever it is, that they can control that whole home music. Same thing with Wi-Fi. Give them some control. Let them play with it. Let them have access to those great, wonderful features that they wouldn't normally have. So it improves the value of the sale by doing that, as well as you can charge for it. Remember that. And then security. I never forget to talk about security. Just want to check my time. We've got about 30 minutes left, but just remember that there are a lot of flaws out there and a lot of folks that think they're secure, but they're not. We are unmatched. We send our product out to be hacked. We've yet to be hacked by these hacking companies. And in most cases, the hackers, the professional hackers that are trying to hack into our system, actually have now installed eero in their own homes. So it's that good. We think that this, again, I can't stress this one enough, is that our update cycle is very unique in the way we do things. We go through a painstaking process to get through to ensure that all internal networks, beta networks, shipped out to customers, and then we build more software on top of that. So we go through this thing, and it's a never-ending loop for ensuring that everything is secure out there. As a reminder, this is available to your consumers. It's $149 a year. But if you think about this, eero Plus has I'm sorry, it says 99. It should be 149. I need to update that slide. If you were to purchase, if the end user were to purchase these services directly, individually, they would be $368. eero Plus is $149, so the savings there is $219. My mistake on that. So you can do things like encrypt me, 1Password, Malwarebytes. Of course, we have anti-ransom, anti-phishing, anti-malware, blocking devices, one-time password. One-time password is a great feature, by the way. Those things are all great with eero Plus as an offer to your end user. The Pro program is simple. If you're new to eero, we would encourage you to sign up by going to pro.eero.com. In there, you'll find additional training on things like eero and remote network management, so that you can ensure that you're up to speed on the latest and greatest. You'll find marketing assets as well. So here's an example of what's out there and available on training. Then marketing, we see a lot of dealers that are keeping their customers up to date with the latest and greatest of what's out there and available, how to upgrade systems, especially if the systems are older, for older installations. And it works great because you've got the ability to grab those assets and use them to your needs on an email campaign, going back to generate additional revenue for yourself. Don't forget your technicians. Technicians can be registered under each individual business owner, and that way, if we use the same email or work email address and mobile telephone number, when they have that eero application on their phone, they can go ahead and use the Pro Transfer feature as well. It makes that setup a lot easier for that technician. Instead of saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Consumer, can I borrow your phone to set up your network? That's an awkward situation. We don't want to see anybody in that. So please make sure you get your technicians registered on pro.eero.com. And again, there's remote network management that's available out there to you, and then our support that you can go ahead and send us an email right from pro.eero.com and tell us what's going on with an issue you may have. We usually answer within 24 hours, but the best way is to get a hold of us at this telephone number at 866-754-7286. That particular number is available. It's a Pro-only number. It goes into level 2 support right away, so you're not going through level 1 and having to get to level 2 because somebody maybe at level 1 wasn't able to answer your questions or solve your issue. Discounted pricing from distribution means that you do earn a margin, and then the assets and tools that are available to you and training that's available to you through pro.eero.com. Remember, we do have a Pro channel focus. We've introduced 2 new products in the last 90 days, both with the PoE Plus mount and adapter, and then remote network management. We've got more stuff coming later in the year. The roadmap is very robust for the Pro side of the world, and we're really looking forward to making sure that the Pros are supported and that you're earning as much money as possible. So don't forget that PoE Plus. Start speccing it in on jobs now. It is available from AllNet today. And then the accommodation program. If you're new, you can get $50 off of your first eero purchase through AllNet, and your technicians can actually earn that same opportunity as well. They have to go through and take the training, and once they pass the training, we'll send them an email. Yes, you passed the training, and you can take that email into AllNet and receive that technician can have eero in their home as well. So put it in your office, put it in your home. Get to know the product, use the product, and understand it, and you'll find that it's a very robust product. We had a brand new dealer last week. I won't say the expletives that were in it. Sent to one of our sales reps out in the marketplace that says, "Thanks for getting me set up. This stuff is effing awesome. I've installed 2 systems and won't go back," meaning to the other product that he was installing originally. So it's, again, if you're new to the ball game, you'll find that eero does a great job. Whole home coverage. Don't forget any solution that you can actually come up with. Super simple to set up. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Is what I usually say. We always stay fresh. we give you the we do that free to every consumer, making sure that their system is operating on the latest and greatest software and security, and we don't have callbacks. I don't think I've had a dealer really tell me that he's had to go back and do anything to repair a system. Returns are minimal, less than 0.01%. So if you think about that as a decimal, it's 0.001 or 0001 as we round that out. So that's pretty small when you consider the number of networks that have been installed by the professionals in the channel over the course of the last year and a half. If you do have an issue, don't forget, you can call us 7 days a week, Monday through Friday. These are packed times. So unfortunately, they're going to be, for those of you in Central Time, they're 2 hours behind. For those of us on the East Coast, they're 3 hours behind, but still we're open till later in the evening as well, and then on Saturday and Sunday. Or you can send us an email as well. Thank you, and don't forget to register. We'll take questions now.
So our first question.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah. Can you go back to the support link? Some of the questions were about the support link.
Okay, great.
Here it is from Jonathan. Is there a support email address where I can send detailed questions to get documentation on the issue, or with documentation on the issue?
Yes, you can send it to support@eero.com. All right,
okay,
let me see if I can start scrolling through some of these. Paul, I was a beta tester and had some issue where Anna's account was suspended and can't seem to get support for an issue. Emma Huntington was on the emails but has not responded. Jonathan, great to hear from you again, by the way. I think I helped you get on that. Let's get into, if you can't get resolution from the pro support line today, you can email me and I'll go to work on it for you. Paul.malmquist@eero.com. Not a problem in the world. How do we handle existing people we set up on eero that we want to now offer remote monitoring? Great question. That one does need to go through. Past networks that reside on your phone is a case-by-case basis. And I should have mentioned it earlier, but the pro team at our customer support can help manage that. Thanks. Appreciate that. All right. Let's go back. All right. Let's see. What other questions do we have?
Okay, Paul. So we've got a question from David about outdoor deployment. I know it's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, it's a very popular one on webinars. They're not designed to go outdoors. With respect, we do see some deployments outdoors. Colder climates, of course, are not the best in the world. There are a few solutions that we're working toward. We've got a couple of manufacturers that are actually we're going to test with on some enclosures, and that testing is in progress right now. And the enclosures hopefully will support it. I know of a lot of cases where eeros have been installed outdoors. And in fact, I put a beacon out on my screened-in porch in the summer months, and I don't have any problems out of it. I do take it in the winter months because of the cold, similar to my Sonos speakers that I put out there.
And I think that's pretty common too.
Watch for some additional details. One dealer actually told me last week, as an example, when I was on the road, one dealer said to me, "I just tell the consumer, I'm going to put it outside. You're going to have great connectivity all over your house, all over your backyard or front yard or wherever, but it's not designed to be outside, and you're going to have to replace it. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that." So there's some ways around that as well.
And yeah, I was going to share that we've heard that dealers are taking beacons outside and then just bringing them in when they're done with their party or they're done with or whatever. So, you know, a customer's got a pool party or something like, or a holiday weekend, they'll take a couple beacons outside, just bring them back in.
Mine will go back outside at the end of March and will not come in until the end of November.
What climate are you in, Paul?
East Tennessee.
Yeah.
Remember,
it's different than our markets up here.
Yeah, it's a lot different than Chicago. But please remember this: no direct sunlight. If you're going to put something, make sure it's under eave and under cover.
Sure. Okay. The next question that comes, this is also from Jonathan. He's asking about how many watts when you're speccing out your PoE
for your power
switch.
Budget.
So 30 watts for your power budget. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
We're less than that, but PoE goes up to PoE Plus. I think goes up to 30 watts.
Okay.
Just remember, if you're managing at 30, you should be okay.
Okay. So this is a question from Sean. He asks, is there a way to keep remote management available on both the app and the RMS dashboard? He said that once you switch to the RMS, you lose that client on your app.
You can still log in from your mobile phone on the page itself.
Okay. So you swipe left or swipe right to choose the networks that are on your app?
Hold on just a second. I'm going back to that one right now. What you're going to do is go back to on dashboard.eero.com. Just bookmark it on your phone, and you can log in that way.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, this question also comes in from Jonathan. Jonathan, thanks for asking a bunch of questions today.
Yep.
How do we handle existing people that have already been set up on eero who we now want to offer the remote monitoring service?
Yeah. So I think I answered that one already. Please work with our customer support line. They can help manage you through that process.
Okay. David asks, can we create a separate SSID for printers or problematic streaming devices?
Separate SSIDs, we only broadcast a single SSID. It is a feature that's being considered at the moment. I don't know where it stands in the roadmap. You can always try it on the guest network.
Okay. And certainly the support team can help with connectivity on these problematic devices.
Yeah. So I have an HP printer that's a little bit older, and it does occasionally it will drop off. That one is just because it's just old. But printers can, because they're not used as often as what they normally would be in a house, they can drop from time to time. That one can also be solved by placing a beacon in the room where the printer is. So, as an example, if you have a home office that's off on one wing of a home, and you've got great connectivity, you can always place that beacon in there as well to ensure that you always have, that's what I've done in my garage as an example for a beacon, is ensuring that I've always got that 2.4 connection for my sprinkler system, outdoor lighting, and some cameras.
Okay, nice. All right. Dan is asking, can we revoke a DHCP lease from a host device?
Can we revoke a DHCP? That one can we send that one in via email? I need to double check with one of our engineers. Okay. I hate to give the wrong answer there.
No worries. Dan will follow up with you offline. David is asking about channel separation. So the traditional model when we're using a 2.4 access point is to look at either 1, 6, or 11. So, Paul, you can share how eero handles that.
Yeah, so let's go back to a slide. I'm going to go back to a slide coming up just a second. Right here. This slide is what we do. Our secret sauce is that you don't have to assign channels or worry about channel assignment, because we route and reroute traffic dynamically on a network depending on the need. So channel assignment, or some guys would like to call it QoS. There's a lot of different terms for QoS, but when you consider what we actually do is we take all the guesswork out of it. And we take all of the assignments out of what you actually need to do every day. That's how we can actually make your lives a lot easier as far as an installation is concerned, rather than having to go in and program for every particular device, channel, and band width. Let eero take over that and become the router of that traffic. And you'll find that because of our ability to dynamically route and reroute traffic based on congestion and use of that network, it makes the network a lot better. In the way, I don't mean to sound smart alecky, but with a couple hundred engineers focused on making sure that your customer has great Wi-Fi every single day is what they do in a singular purpose. So channel assignment is not capable, but we have some requests. And again, I don't know where it is on the feature roadmap, but I'm of the belief that if I don't have to program it, I don't have to fix it later. So let eero do that for me.
Okay. And then on a previous webinar, one of the engineers who was on our very first webinar said that one of the benefits of the dynamic from their standpoint is that, when we go out there, if we go out there and we take our test gear and we do a site survey, that can change literally by the hour, much less,
yes,
over 6 months or 12 months or 5 years,
yes,
however long the system is going to be in place. So being able to adjust dynamically will find the best path from device back to router.
Yes, exactly.
And also, he said that if we do use, like on a switch, an outside WAP, like if we install, like, a Luxel or some other brand outdoor access point, to set it as high as possible, because all of our eeros will always default to the lower channels and then seek upward as they see congestion.
Correct.
Okay. So this is also in line with your channel separation. What about transmitting power settings? Those are all automated as well, right, Paul?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Remember, every 5 seconds, a node on the network speaks to the cloud.
Okay. All right. So this question is from Dan. He's asking about using eero in the same home with Control4's Zigbee system that runs off 2.4, and also with Sonos that likes to make its own Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Let me answer the last one first. Sonos, we have a very solid working relationship with Sonos. In fact, if a consumer were to call Sonos today, they will probably recommend, in all likelihood, for Wi-Fi connectivity, they'll recommend our product. So Sonos should, there have been some installation issues with Sonos, not going to deny that. In a lot of cases, the folks on the other end of the phone, where they're working with a dealer or at a customer service center, will help the dealer through the installation and make sure that everything's up and running. As far as Control4 is concerned, I have dealers across the United States telling me that Control4 works fantastic. One example that I'll give, I was down in southern Texas, and the dealer had finished up a Control4 job the 2 weeks before I was there doing a training class. The guy came in to find out more about eero, or this particular dealer did, and the reason he did is his consumer went out and bought eero and called him up and said, "Come and install this for me. I want better Wi-Fi." And the Control4 system was brand new, 2 weeks in. He installed it, crossed his fingers, everything works like a champ. I have some dealers saying that it doesn't work very well with Control4. So there's one particular dealer that's helped us through, that was on our beta program, both on PoE as well as remote network management. He's a Control4 dealer and installs it every single time. He's moved away from the other products that he was installing, and he only installs eero today. So work through each particular installation, and we should be okay. As far as 2.4 congestion on Zigbee, we don't have an issue with that, because we're going to move those devices off of the channels where Control4 is actually running.
Okay, thanks. And then just a sidebar, channels 15, 20, 25, and 26 on Zigbee are the ones that are least likely to interfere with 2.4, especially 25 and 26. So if you guys have the ability to manage your Wi-Fi channel selection, your Zigbee channel selection, always try 25, 26 first, and then 20, and then 15. Okay.
There's another good response, Rick. Thank you.
All right. So Cal, he says he put an eero in his garage in the winter, and the garage is detached. So Cal, now that we've noticed this, we're not taking an RMA on that piece. So, but thank you for the testimonial. We'll use the testimonial. Dirk says we have 186 eeros out in the field. We've only had 2 bad units ever. So yeah, our results would mirror that. So we've sold, I don't know, what do you think, Paul, over 1,000? We had to have sold over 1,000 by now.
Multiple thousands.
And yeah, I can count on one hand the time that we've had to take eeros back. So usually it was somebody would go, they'd leave the building with like 2 or 3 of the 3-packs, and then they'd return because they didn't need that many. So that's usually the return, and it's just like an unopened box goes right back on the shelf.
Well,
so
you know,
we've
solved that. We've actually solved that for the dealer. It should be you should have singles in your warehouses today.
We do.
One of the things.
Were we discussing that? Were we like really pushing?
Let's bring that out to the forefront really quick. One of the things that we've heard from dealers across the U.S. is that your packaging is fantastic. We love it, but we also hate it. And there's a lot of reasons around that, of course. But the thing about it is that we've gone to singles only for the custom install channel. And the reason for that is that, number one, we want to give you remote network management. Number two is that the dealer base has asked for it. And the dealer, just like you're saying, is unopened, or I needed to buy, if you had installation, our average install is about 7 eeros per professionally installed system. If you think about that, you can buy 7 at a time with no problem, but you would have to buy 3 3-packs to get to that. And if you needed a beacon, then you had to buy a home Wi-Fi plus 2, and then you've got an eero left. You got multiple eeros left over, multiple beacons. I don't know how many calls we field for I lost my power supply and power cord. Well, shoot. Those come case packed from the manufacturer, our contract manufacturer, at 98 at a time. So distributors don't really want to buy 98 devices and let them sit on their shelf. We do get them replaced. We get new ones out to you. But the thing about it is that now with single packs, you can custom order by job. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Or you can continue to buy in bulk.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're really happy with the singles, and it seems like it makes a lot more sense when you're having the conversation with the client at the end of the job and said, hey, I used 7.
Yep.
That you have 7 empty boxes. You don't have 3 boxes, and one of the boxes still has 2 pieces left in it.
Correct.
So the customer, I mean, even though, we might split it out and say, oh, I'm only charging you a partial for this third one, it seems like it's an easier discussion to say this a la carte price is X, yep, and I charge you 7 pieces at X price.
Correct.
Okay, so Jamie, I like the way you think. Jamie says, as far as guest access control, is there a way to limit the bandwidth, the throttle, the guest?
Now that does define QoS for us in a big way. So there is not. You've got to remember that what we want is for every consumer to experience great Wi-Fi. QoS, again, is a roadmap feature. Again, not sure where it stands. I'd like to keep myself distance from roadmap features, because when I know too much, I spout too much. So there's not a way to limit. So I know that dealers have asked for, I want to give all of my customers my 5.8 or 5.2 channel bandwidth. That's what they need the most of, and then I'm going to assign everything else to 2.4 up to and including bandwidth, and then the bandwidth separation from there. I only want to allow 20 down and 5 up for my guest access. Give your guest access because we can. If we look back at the screen right now, I'll give you an example. Just say that center eero is located in the kitchen, and that's where people congregate for parties. That's where the food is. That's where all the beverages are, and everybody has access. The thing about that is that we have to engineer. We can engineer for brick walls. We can engineer for plaster and sheetrock and other things that go into a home. But the hardest thing is to engineer for people because we're 98% water, and Wi-Fi does not penetrate water. So if you think about it in this way, that we're all standing around in the kitchen and we're accessing that one access point. The beautiful thing about it is, even on the guest network, is that we're going to reroute that traffic to other nodes on the network to ensure that everybody maintains a proper speed. Because somebody may be streaming a video for somebody, and of course we want that streaming video, everybody wants to see it, so let them have it, and let some of that traffic be rerouted to some of the other nodes for the backhaul and forward bandwidth. It's a great system, but I understand the question. A lot of people want to do that.
I've got a two-part question from Mike. He posed it in two different things, so I got to read and then I'll go down to the other part of it. So he said on the PoE adapter mounting bracket, he would like to see a future revision that allows for an additional category cable to be plugged in, and then later he expands on why. He said especially in new construction applications can be a bit of a waste to have an eero at the modem when it is in a rack or a can. So he wants to leave one out in the living space and then use it as a gateway, and then it looks like he wants to route that cat back to a switch.
We do have a solution. Yeah. I know exactly what he's asking about. Rick, if you'll shoot me a quick email, we'll get you some additional information on how to solve. And believe me, I'm not sure who asked that question, but we understand because we were at IBS, we were at another show in Phoenix. We think that the builder channel is one where the integrator can absolutely set us apart with respect to offering the builder all kinds of different things in an easy way. Because yes, you can eliminate the need for a router at the rack. You can use eero in the first position, and just say it's a 2,500 square foot home. You're going to put a second eero on the second floor, one on the main floor, centrally located. Remember, rule of thumb is about 1 per 1,000 square feet. The consumer can always add a beacon, but for the most part, homes today are more open, so we can cover those homes usually with 2 eeros. And the question is, can I put eero in as a gateway centrally located, not at the rack, and then have an additional one located somewhere else at the house? Yes, you can. We have a solution for that. We'll get it to Rick, and he can disperse it out.
Okay. So, Mike, my email is rick.murphy@allnetdistributing.com. Shoot me an email. I'll follow up with you. Okay. So David has posed a question. We like to hide the equipment in closets, ceiling cabinets, etc., and then also with the PoE mounting. We're going to mount them in different locations throughout the house. Is there a coverage map that details the antenna, the polar plot or whatever, that discusses like the horizontal, vertical, front and back radiation pattern of the antenna?
There is not a coverage map that I'm aware of. What I would always, and we see these things mounted under tables right now, not using PoE, where guys will Velcro them and hide the wire for power. We see them in all kinds of crazy configurations and placements. The thing about it is of course, once we go into a closet, you're going to lose a little bit of signal. My rule of thumb, again, is 1 per 1,000 square feet if you're for eero, and 1 per 750 square feet for beacon. If you're installing of course, on the ceiling, we take care of, or on the wall, we take care of that through the adapter in the back to ensure that your performance is being met. So just rule of thumb, instead of radiation, or it's not radiation, it's the propagation of wave, and the directional, or the direction of waves is usually up and out, because again, it was designed to go waist high on a tabletop. Now think about it, it's on a wall, and now it's going out across the room. We engineer around that for you. So no worries about where it goes. You may have to increase the number of eeros that are going into a home if you're placing them in closets. We see them on top of 72-inch cabinets where there's electrical outlets too. So yeah, the pro dealer is I've always applauded them on their creativity of solutions.
All right, thanks for drilling down on that one. Pretty good. The next question, this is from Dan, but I think he already logged off, but I'll go ahead and share it with him. For the Sonos, to circle back to Sonos, do you recommend hardwiring into eero, or using like the Sonos bridge, or making one of the first Sonos as the bridge and then letting them build their own network, like they recommend for some, especially for off-the-shelf type product, like the, not to throw anyone under the bus, but the stuff you might buy at Micro Center or Fry's, where they absolutely don't want any of that stuff being managed by the hardware?
Yeah, sure. It's up to you on your installation. I'll put it to you that way. In my home today, I do use a bridge. I have a bridge and a boost hardwired into a small switch off of eero. From there, though, every Sonos player, and there are 19 of them in my home. I bought them cheap, guys. I don't make that much money. So I bought most of them at a really good deal. But I have 19 wirelessly connected Sonos devices in my home. You can hardwire them off of an eero. You can hardwire them. You can use the bridge or boost. You can use in any configuration that you actually need. We should be able to support, because we work so closely with them. I think that we spend a lot of time on both Sonos products. We spend a lot of time on all kinds of products, but the other one that we engineer for are Apple products, because we know that Apple does not like to let go of an access point until it absolutely has to, and we engineer for the worst case scenarios. So however you need to install is what I would recommend there.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Jonathan is asking about DFS channels. Do we support the DFS channels?
I need to get an answer on that one. I'm not sure. What do we mean by DFS?
Okay. Jonathan, if you'd like to ask the question directly, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, Jonathan.
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Hey, great. Yeah, so there are some channels in the Wi-Fi spectrum that are switch channels that the government needs to be able to basically disconnect to avoid interference selectively. And typically, most Wi-Fi do not support them, but some of the competitive products to yours support that spectrum. One of the important reasons for that, if you look up a Wi-Fi channel map, certainly in the 5 gigahertz range, is that that's going to be a space that's not going to be noisy. And so if you're in you're doing installs in higher density environments, you see a whole bunch of channels out there. So my guess is, if you're not aware of that, it probably doesn't support it, but it's something to take a look at, because that's certainly one of the competitive products.
Jonathan, I'm going to answer you this way. I know enough to be dangerous on this, but I don't want to give you the wrong answer. So what I would like to do is take that one back to my engineer as well, or my engineering team as well, to give you the exact right answer. Again, it's been in a conversation with me in the past, but I'm not as fluent in it as what I would like to be for that answer. So I will get you a hard answer on that.
Okay, I've got your email, Jonathan. Paul,
Cool.
Again, I'm not the Wi-Fi whiz either, but isn't that these are our backhaul channels, right, on the tri-band pieces?
Yeah, we use 5.8 quite a bit for backhaul.
Okay, and I think
that's
those
another
are the
reason
North American ones that Jonathan is talking about that are off the
off the grid.
commonly assigned, especially to devices.
Yeah,
they're in the middle, but we can talk offline. I'm really just more thinking for your future, products if they don't support them. I don't think these guys do, but you can get more throughput if you can use obviously more spectrum.
Sure. We and guys, for everybody, Jonathan, for everybody, and that's another reason that I do recommend eero in front of Beacon. I'll tell you up front that Beacon is less than 15% of our overall total sales inside the Pro channel. I like the flexibility of eero as a product because I can both hardwire and or use it wirelessly. I can also, if I'm using it wirelessly, I can also hardwire onto other devices in another room. So the flexibility of eero is really good. When you're on PoE, of course, that's not really going to be as easy. But if you're in a guest room where they don't mind that it's just out and available, you can use it in a better installation. And that 5.8, we're using a lot of that 5.8 bandwidth right now for nothing but backhaul. So, but I will get you a proper answer to DFS.
Okay, so the next question that came out is in regard to a possible future bundle, like a Pro Pack that includes a single eero and a PoE adapter, possibly even minus the power brick on the eero piece, to bring the price down a little versus buying a retail Pro Pack with a power supply and then buying the PoE adapter that will eliminate that power supply.
It's a great suggestion. It's on my roadmap. I've got to get to a point of re-engineering packaging to be able to do that. It's a feature request for me, or a packaging request from me already, going into our team to be able to do it so that you have the adapter, eero, and mounting bracket all together in one single package individually, so you can mix and match the way you would need to. But yes, it's already in consideration. As soon as it hit the street, I was clamoring for it. So, thank you for supporting me on it.
Okay. Another question. This one comes through from my buddy Jamie. He's got a home show coming up, and he wants to promote eero, and we've got some resources available on the support, the Pro page.
Yep.
But I remember, I think Kelly was talking about postcards and things like that. Are there some sort of marketing materials that are available for eero for people that want to promote either to, like we were talking earlier about production builders, or like in the case of Jamie, he's doing a home show?
I don't have anything at the moment. Give us some dates and some deadlines, and let's see what we can put together for you. And Rick, why don't we work together on that one?
Okay, perfect.
See how we can support him.
Yeah. All right, and I think that's it.
Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't an eero dealer before, please sign up. I think that you'll find that the product's great. If you are a current eero dealer, don't forget that we have that remote network management tool that's dedicated to you guys. We continue to build against the channel, and those PoE devices are available through AllNet today. And I know that Wally just placed another order this morning for more singles coming in. So the take-up rate on that looks to be pretty good. Thanks for your time.